Hi, I'm Dr. Ellis Orozco, and thanks for listening to this video podcast. I hope you have a great weekend. Hi, and thanks for listening in. I wanted to take some time this weekend to reflect a little bit on the idea of being self-aware or being more self-aware. I want you to begin to see your life as a journey of self-discovery. The Bible tells us that the Holy Spirit lives inside of us, that when we have accepted Jesus, He gives us His Holy Spirit. And so there is this lifelong journey inward to discover who we are in Jesus Christ. So I just wanted to give you a couple of things to think about, maybe some ideas of how you can begin that journey to self-awareness. Jesus spent a lot of time in the wilderness, and I think it was in that wilderness time that God spoke to him and really gave him a sense of affirmation, that first baptismal experience where God said, "You are my son, and in you I am well pleased." When we go out into the wilderness, God says to us, "You are my child. I love you, and I'm pleased with you." He affirms us, and then he reminds us of who we are. One of the things I would encourage you to do is that anytime you have a hard conversation with another person, or maybe some kind of conflict with a coworker or a family member, when you confront that conflict in that conversation, just be aware of what's going on with your body, with your breathing, with your heart rate. Be aware of the words you're using. And something I like to do is that I build in time after the conversation to get away alone and to reflect on the conversation. How did I do? How did I respond? What could I have done better? Another good thing to do is that if you are a teacher or a preacher or public speaker, if you do that regularly, is to have those recorded, either audio or video, and then go back and look at them with a critical eye, becoming self-aware of the things that you're doing that distract from your message. Or another way is just in that relationship that you're in with that person that's very, very special, your husband or your wife, maybe a mother or father or a brother or a sister, someone who's really close to you that you trust, someone that you know that they love you. It's a good idea to every once in a while ask them, how am I doing? How do other people see me? My wife is great at this. She's really wonderful at being able to tell me, hey, look, people are seeing you this way or that way. And oftentimes I think, are you kidding? They're seeing me that way? That's not the way I am. And she'll say, I know, but this is why. And she'll point that out. And that's always very, very helpful if you have that person who can do that for you. These are all ways to become more and more self-aware. Jesus actually asked his disciples, who do people say that I am? And his disciples started answering, the question honestly. And Jesus was seeking to become more and more self-aware. A couple of questions you might ask yourself in this journey of self-discovery. As you try to become more and more self-aware. One is, how do I want to be remembered? After I'm dead and gone, what do I want people to say about me? And as you kind of solidify that in your mind, you can begin to live your life with that in your mind as you go along. Here's another question. If you could change anything in the world, what would you change? That gives you a kind of an idea of where your heart is, what your values are, what things are important to you. Or you might ask yourself, what do I actually bring into the world? At a certain age, I had to take stock of my life, and I had to recognize that there were certain things that I would never be good at, and that's okay. But I realized that there were a couple of things, just one or two things, that if I worked really hard at these things, someday I could be really, really good at them. And so that's what I started doing. I started working really hard at those just one or two, three at the most, things that I thought I could be really good at if I worked at them. So I hope you'll take time this weekend to think about Jesus, that he was probably the most self-aware person on the face of the earth. Jesus said, I am the bread of life. He said, I am the living water. He said, I am the resurrection and the life. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. Jesus had this strong confidence in who he was. He was extremely self-aware. And I think He wants us to go on that same journey of self-awareness. So I hope you'll reflect on that this weekend. God bless you and have a great weekend.